Hi guys, and welcome to Escape with Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Watchdives WD5512. I received this watch for free. I don't have to send the watch back, but you guys know the deal by now. It's not going to sway my review one way or another. You're always going to get my honest opinion on this channel. And if by the end of this review you want to pick one of these up, I'm going to be leaving a link in the video description. That is an affiliate link taking you right to the Watchdives website where this watch is listed. You guys don't pay any extra. I just get a little bit of commission if you guys use that link to purchase the watch, and that helps keep the channel running. So thank you guys so much for your continued support. I'm still here because of you guys. The retail price for this watch is $129 US. That's before any taxes, sales, coupons, anything like that. That also includes free FedEx delivery, which is a nice bonus. You get this watch in like under 5 days usually. So that is a really nice bonus to get. If you do want to buy anything else from Watchdives, if you get the price over $150, you can use my code ESCAPE10 for $10 off your purchase. The watch comes in two different colorways. You get the black dial, and then you have a sunburst blue dial with a blue bezel insert. That's it for right now. The watch case is made of 316L stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal, a ceramic bezel insert, screw down crown, screw down case back, 200 meters of claimed water resistance, Swiss BGW9 on the dial and the hands, and the watch is powered by the Seiko NH35 automatic movement. So when Watchdive sent this watch over, I asked them if this style of watch is a big seller still, and they said yes, absolutely. Obviously the watch enthusiasts have had one, two, or multiple of this style of watch, but there's plenty of new watch enthusiasts coming out, and they all kind of want an affordable sub homage. So yeah, there's kind of no surprise, I guess. I thought that this style of watch was kind of played out and there's too many of them, but obviously they still see a market for it. So I see no reason why I shouldn't review this watch for you guys. They've upgraded it over their previous one, which I did review up here. I'll leave that up there. So that's kind of their, I guess, budget one. This is more premium. For $129, I think it's a very good option out there. So yeah, I think we should get right into this review. But before we do a quick wrist check as always. This is the Ixdao 5303. This is a version 1. I reviewed this one a long time ago. Just finally got it back on the bracelet. It was such a pain in the butt to get it back on. But yeah, really do enjoy this watch. And yeah, if you want to go check that out, go check out the review right here. Okay, so let's check out the dimensions. Got a bezel diameter of 40.2 millimeters, case thickness of 12.8 millimeters, 20 millimeter lug width. Lug tip to lug tip is 47.6 millimeters. The total length is 50.8 millimeters, and sized up for my 7.5 inch wrist with 2 links removed. It weighs about 147 grams. So the dimensions on this are not a surprise at all. 40 millimeters by 47.5. Decent thickness as well. It's a very flat case, as you would expect from a watch of this style. They're all kind of the same. They don't really deviate too much in design wise. It's a very iconic look, so why mess with something that doesn't need to be messed with? So yeah, I think overall it does wear pretty good. It has a decent, under 51 full length on it. Those links, they do turn down pretty good. So it wears just like any other one. So I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. Here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist. And as you can see, it wears just like you would expect it to. I had no doubts on how this thing was going to wear. Very flat case, but compact lug to lug. It wears pretty well in my opinion. Fairly standard size for a watch like this. The bracelet is also pretty comfortable. We'll talk about that in more detail later on. But yeah, it wears good. I got really no complaints. It's about exactly what I expected it to be like. Unfortunately, there's no sun today. Kind of a dull and dreary day here in Florida, and so no direct sunlight, but you can see it does have some anti-reflective coating on it. I think it does a pretty good job of cutting down reflections. It's a very legible watch for being so shiny. You got a shiny ceramic bezel, a shiny dial, raised applied indices. It all looks pretty good though. You can see on the Cyclops there's a little bit of AR on that as well. So yeah, it does a pretty good job of keeping it all fairly legible. All right, let's go throw this on some straps and we will get back to this review. And here we are on a nylon strap, 2-piece nylon strap. It looks pretty good, I think, black with a white stripe there. I think it goes pretty well with the watch itself. What do you guys think about that one? Very comfortable. I'm not even sure where I got the strap from, but I like it. Here we are on a Riche Army Green canvas strap. I think that looks pretty good as well. Army Green with the black diver never looks bad in my opinion. Here we are with a Vario vintage leather. I always like the black with the tan leather. This is one of my favorite straps, and it does actually look pretty good on this watch, and I'm not a fan of this style of watch on straps in general, so that's saying a lot. And here we are on an Oyster Flex style bracelet or strap, kind of made for a watch like this, so there's no doubt in my mind that it was going to look good, and I think it does. This is from Strapsco if you guys are interested. Nice strap. And lastly, here we are on a double pass nylon strap. The Ducks approve. This is a Bond style. I figure people are going to want to see it on a watch strap like this. So, not my favorite strap. This one is kind of cheap feeling. It came off of a Pagani. But yeah, if you like this style, I would suggest getting a nice strap, a nice nylon, and going for it. And there's 2 layers underneath the watch. It still wears okay. It's just not my favorite style, I guess. But yeah, there you go. All right, let's go back inside and let's get back to this review. All right, so let's talk about the case finishing. So case finishing, again, it's a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces, exactly what you would expect from a watch like this. You have vertical brushing on the tops of the lugs, really nice and fine brushing. It's got a nice luster to it as well. It looks fantastic, looks really, really good. Flipping it to the sides here, fully polished sides. You got nice transitions there as well, nice and sharp. They did a very nice job on it. The polishing is very smooth. I don't see really any imperfections in it at all. It looks really good. Flipping it to the crown side here, again, you've got polished crown guards, polishing on the sides. Everything is done very nice and smooth. You have a Watchdive signed crown here. I like the size of this crown. It doesn't stick out too far. Yeah, it kind of tucks in there nicely. They did a good job with it. I am very impressed with the brushing. Brushing is nicely done. Yeah, it looks really good. Flipping it over to the case back here, you kind of have your standard style case back for a watch like this, fully brushed. It's got that coin edge style thing, which I'm not a big fan of. I do have the tools for that now, but yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt. I just wish they would stick with simple notches, but it is what it is. Circular brushing on the bottom of the case. They have kind of softened this edge just a little bit. They could use a little bit more softening, I think. I've noticed, every single one of these watches is kind of sharp on this bottom edge. Haven't come across one that's soft. So yeah, it's just something to note. It's not uncomfortable, but I guess over a long period of time, I guess it could get a little uncomfortable, but for me, it's been fine so far. All right, so let's talk about the bezel on it. The bezel is fantastic. This is one of the best bezels I've come across in a watch in this price point. It's amazing. I'm really, really satisfied with this bezel. I've had watches from steeldive, addiesdive, San Martin, sugess, pretty much all the kinds of watches of this style I've had. This is by far the nicest one. The San Martin I thought was a very good bezel option, but this one is just so nice. Really, really impressed. So first off, we'll talk about the bezel insert. The bezel insert, it's pretty nicely done. Black ceramic, really nice and smooth, nice engravings. They're not super deep engravings or anything, just white paint filled in there. The Lume pip here is kind of one of those integrated ones, similar to how San Martin does it, so that's nice to see. I don't like seeing the ones that stick up off the bezel insert. Those things tend to get lost. This one probably won't get lost. And that is a lumed pip there, and it's nicely centered there. You can see the alignment is just spot on this thing. The bezel itself is stainless steel there. You can see fully brushed, and then you got the polishing inside the scallops there. But pretty nicely done. I've seen no issues with it at all. It looks fantastic. Like I said, the bezel action is super solid. You got a 120 click unidirectional. There's absolutely zero play in this bezel. It is just rock solid. It's got good grip on it as well, and it's got good resistance. I'm going to let you listen to the clicks on this thing. They're nice and snappy. It's kind of like a deep thunking click. I mean, it just feels good and it sounds really good. It is just an excellent bezel, and like I said, the alignment on it is just spot on. I actually went one click too far there, but yeah, really, really happy with it. Nice and consistent resistance all the way around. It's a great bezel. Like I said, one of the best bezels I've handled, especially in this price point. Just in general, it's one of the best bezels I've handled. This is right up there with like the Christopher Ward that I've had. So yeah, really, really happy with the bezel on this thing. All right, let's talk about the crystal on this thing. We're going to test it for sapphire. Crystal is sapphire. The Cyclops is also sapphire, so that's nice to see. So you have a dead flat piece of sapphire crystal with a sapphire cyclops, plenty of anti-reflective coating on it. You can see there's kind of a blue tinge to the cyclops AR coating. The crystal itself just has a clear AR coating. Maybe just a tiny blue tinge to it. It doesn't look bad at all. It does a really good job of keeping the dial nice and clear. Yeah, I've got no issues with the crystal on this thing. It looks really good. It sits ever so slightly proud of the bezel insert there, as you can see. But I mean, it just looks good. Yeah, I've got no complaints with the crystal on it. All right, so the dial on this watch is an inky black. You can see it there. It's kind of that glossy, just deep black there. You can see the reflection of the second hand. It looks fantastic. It's similar to other watches in this style. I see no issues with it at all. It's not anything better than any other brand out there, in my opinion. It's not anything worse, except for Pagani. I think Pagani has a worse dial. This one, very nice. Got no issues with it. Applied indices at all the hour markers except the 3 o'clock, which is just your date window cut out there. Everything is centered nicely in that date window, and the Cyclops is magnifying very nicely, in my opinion. You can see the printed minute track around the outside, nicely centered in the dial opening there. It does have a somewhat deep rehout. It's not terrible. It's on par with, St. Martin and Steel Dive. They definitely could improve that and get it thin like the sugess. But other than that, I see no issues with the dial on this thing. It is done very, very nicely. Getting up real close, I'm going to show you guys. The applied indices are done very, very nice. Really nice and flat, filled to the brim with Lume. We'll talk about Lume here in just a moment. The handset on this, kind of your typical standard style Mercedes handset. Really nicely done. Not faceted or anything like that, but they do kind of have like a rounded appearance to them. Similar to other watches in this price point, similar to other watches in this style. Again, nothing wrong with them, nothing fantastic about them. They're done nicely. I've got zero complaints with them. The size is just about right as well, nice and big and bold. I think they picked the right handset for this thing. And there's a very healthy application of BGW9 on this. So I'm going to pop up a Lume shot here. You can see that nice ice blue glow of the watch. It's really good. I've got zero complaints with it. You can see it against a couple other watches in the collection, and it definitely holds its own. It's one of those watches where you can pick it up at 5 in the morning and easily read the time. I've got no issues with the Lume on this thing. It is fantastic. All right, getting to the movement and the crown. Movement is the Seiko NH35. If you guys don't know about it, it is accurate, it's reliable, it's cheap to repair, they're easy to work on, they're fantastic watches. They hack, they hand wind, they got about 40 hours of power reserve. They got a bi-directional winding rotor, so you don't get that rotor whirl that you get from a Miyota. Very happy with the movements, 21,600 beats per hour, so 6 ticks of the second hand every second. I've got no complaints with the movement. They're in pretty much all the watches in this style, so it's not really a bonus for this watch. It's not a negative of the watch. It's just, it is what it is. They're great movements. I got no complaints with it. Here's how mine has been running, which is about average for a watch like this. So I see no complaints with that at all. The watch is operated by this 3 o'clock screw down crown. It again is signed. Screw in and screw out action is really nice and smooth. I've got no complaints with that. When it does pop out here, you can see a gasket there aiding in the 200 meters of water resistance. So that's nice to see. Really nice, solid crown. No issues with that. This first position is your hand winding. Second position is where you change your date. And again, everything is nicely centered in there. Again, no issues with that. Third position hacks the movement. This is where you set your time. Everything functions as it should. No issues with it at all. The screw in action is one of those. It's not one of those spring-loaded crowns, so while you're screwing it in, you're also winding the movement. So it does have a little resistance to it, but it's not anything where you feel like you're cross-threading the crown thread. So no real complaints with the movement or the crown on this thing. It's excellent. It's really good. All right, so let's talk about the bracelet on this thing. So the bracelet is kind of that make or break point for a lot of people. The Steel Dive and the addiesdive and the Pagani design, I think their bracelets are not great. Definitely they need some improvement. St. Martin has a great bracelet. St. Martin released a watch very similar to this at I believe it's $150, and they put in pin and collars, and then they put just a standard clasp on it. This is on the level of that watch. This bracelet here, it is 20 millimeters. It tapers down to 16 millimeters. You have pin and collar. You don't have push pins, so it's pin and collar, so be aware of that. But the brushing is done very nice and consistent. Polishing on the sides here. This bottom edge is nicely rounded. It's softer than the San Martin bracelet, in my opinion. You get nice flow to the links, everything. It doesn't hang up on itself or anything like that. The tolerances are nice and tight as well. The end link fitment, nice and solid. I can feel it wobbling in there, but you can't really see it. There's no real gaps or anything like that. I think it looks pretty good, and it does stop short of the lug tips there. So it does kind of shorten up the entire length of it, which is nice to see. Yeah, really happy with that. You can see it follows the case curvature just really nicely. Again, the finishing on these end links, the finishing on the bracelet is excellent. I put it right up there with San Martin. The pin and collar is going to be, I don't know about a deal breaker, but it's a pain in the butt. I don't like them. This one did work better than my last San Martin that had pin and collar, so I'll say that. But yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I would rather have just push pins or screw pins, but I know that's a cost saving, and apparently it does make the links more fluid. So I don't know. I've never had an issue with other bracelets, but yeah, just something to note. The clasp on this thing, it's fine. It is a fully milled clasp, as you can see here. You've got your Watchdives branding on the clasp here, brushing on the top, polishing on the sides. It all flows nicely with the watch and the bracelet. 4 levels of micro adjust, 2 button pushers here. Everything functions as it should, fully milled on the inside, nice tight tolerances. Everything, I mean, it just opens and closes like it should every single time. Nice and simple to do. It functions perfectly. I've got 0 complaints with the clasp on this thing, especially in this price point. You don't really expect a on-the-fly clasp. It would be nice to have, obviously, and you can definitely swap one on here. But for $129, you're not going to get one usually. So, yeah, I am very happy with the clasp on this thing. I think it looks pretty good. It's not your standard style clasp. It's just a simple clasp, really nice, low profile, rounded off nicely. It's not sharp or anything like that. There's no sharp corners. Yeah, it's a nice clasp. I got 0 complaints with it. The bracelet in general is nicely done. This kind of puts it above the steel dives and the addiesdives by quite a bit, and it puts it above the previous version of the Watchdives version of this watch. Yeah, it's a nice bracelet. It's really, really nice. Like I said, I put it on par with San Martin as far as the quality of the bracelet goes. So yeah, it is a good bracelet. So there you go, guys. We're throwing another sub-homage into the ring. This is a really good one. I kind of slot this one right alongside the San Martin as far as the quality goes. I do think if they slim down that rehaut to what Sugess has, this would just be a killer. This would be the one to get. As it is, though, it's a very nice, very, very nice watch. The bezel on this thing is fantastic. The lume is killer. The bracelet is even good. There's not a whole lot to complain about on this watch other than it being just another sub-homage. But once you get past that fact and see that there are other people out there that are still getting into the hobby and they want to watch like this is one that they should have on their radar 100%. I really do think it's between this one and the Sugess. I think this is a more solid watch. I think the Sugess offers some really nice options too. This one's got better lume, better bezel, better bracelet. The Sugess has the thinner rehaut. I think it's the more accurate of the stub homages. But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough call between these two. This one is cheaper by quite a bit though. So yeah, this is a great option, guys. Really, really nice option for you guys. I think that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.